And here's a look at the venue, Pukekohe Park. It's a great driver's track, classic old school venue to show you the way around. A guy who's had success here before and rides with the home crowd, Scotty McLaughlin.
Well, welcome aboard my Wilson Security Racing GRM Volvo S60. I'm here to take you on a lap around Pukekohe Park Raceway, thanks to GoPro, and see what we can get out of it. One of my most favourite tracks, just because coming home to New Zealand, being a Kiwi myself, you know, being able to see the fans and try and do my best in front of my home crowd. I used to sit on the stands out here on the left and watch my hero Murph go around, and for me, it's a dream come true to do it myself. So here we go. Want to start a good lap, 5th gear, pull 6, midway down the straight, fast into turn 1, very bumpy, down to 5th gear, trying to carry as much speed. It's all about flow here. Down to 3rd gear, flip the curb massively, down to 2nd, holding it nice and tight for a nice straight exit, and nice power delivery for the back straight. Very important to get a good run down here. Looks like it's not too bad a lap, and we'll see how we go in here. Braking very hard, biggest braking on the track, about the 150 metre board, down to 2nd. Hold it, you can take this corner very differently. You take it with a bit of curb, or you can be a little bit wider. I generally like to take it a little bit tighter. Back up to 4th, and down to 2nd for the hairpin. I think I'm one of the only guys that use 2nd here, but it seems to work for me. Need to get a nice straight exit, look after the tyres in the race. Back up the 5th gear for the coolest part of the track. So loose through here. Also, got to concentrate a little bit here. I don't want to put it in the fence for racing, but that's a lap of Pukekohe, my home track. Hopefully I can do it out there like the All Blacks did for the Kiwis. Cheers.
And this is what they're playing for. On the 15th of December 2011, we lost a much-loved member of this sport, Jason Richards, a popular figure in the category and a very good driver in his own right. And they named that trophy in his honour. Fittingly, Brad Jones Racing and the team that he used to race for, Jason Bright, won the inaugural trophy. There's a lot of pride attached to that. Plenty would love to put their name on it at the end of the weekend. Jamie Whincup has pole position for this one. He'll start alongside David Reynolds. Reynolds on the front row for both of today's races. Season high, the best ever for Scott Pye in his career terms. 3rd is an awesome performance with the captain watching on. There's the championship leader, Mark Winterbottom, 1 place behind his rival on the grid in Craig Lowndes. James Courtney, winner on the streets of the Gold Coast the last time out, snuck into the top 10. Good job by Will Davison in the Penrite Erebus Mercedes. There's Bright, as we said, inaugural winner of the Jason Richards Memorial Trophy. Lee Holdsworth, he's just had a shout out on Twitter from none other than Sebastian Bourdais, his teammate for the Pertec Enduro Cup. So no doubt Seb is watching abroad. Rick Kelly has had a tough one in qualifying. He finished on the podium on Sunday at the Gold Coast with David Russell. It was a great performance. And Andre Heimgartner, there's a bit of traffic for memory, a bit of an issue for him to contend with late in that qualifying session. And Nick Percat for LD Motorsport at the very back of the Fuso starting grid. So here's David Reynolds. As we detailed at the start there, he might be leaving this outfit, he might be leaving ProDrive, but he is absolutely putting his best foot forward as he closes this chapter. Recap, 25 starters, 60 kilometres in all. It'll be done in 21 laps here, but it's 21 intense laps. It's an unbelievably good driver's track. Had a modification put in. Turns 5, 6 and 7 added to that back straight back in 2012, ahead of the sport's return here in 2013. Who do you think will win the Jason Richards Memorial Trophy come Sunday afternoon, come tomorrow afternoon? Let us know. Hashtag V8SC, get involved in the conversation. It's a great time for this championship. Look at the love for the sport in this country. It is awesome. The fan walk tomorrow, Murph, is going to be huge.
And right now, the atmosphere down here, I can tell you, I've got a tingle down my spine. A huge crowd on this amazing, beautiful day here at Pukekohe Park for the ITM 500 here in Auckland. They roll up. Dave Reynolds, awesome job to put his car on the front row for both these races. Jamie Whincup, though, we've talked about his season so far. He will be desperate. The one I'm going to watch, Shane Van Gisbergen, he's back there on the 2nd row on grid 4, and he is determined, absolutely determined to take this out. This is a sprint race. It's going to be all on, fellas.
And there's a guy who maybe feels a little odd not being on that grid, soaking it up, being a part of it. 21 laps on hard tyres. Race 28 of the championship. We'll switch to softs for race 29 this afternoon. We're all gridded up and ready. We get the green flag at the back here at Pukekohe. The ITM 500 Auckland starts with 2 sprints on Saturday. The champ, Jamie Whincup, is on pole position. The guy with a point to prove, David Reynolds, doesn't get the best of starts, but he moves to defend, to protect from Shane van Gisbergen. Great start from Whincup. The 17 fights off, fends off Craig Lowndes. Scott Pye holds down 4th position. Here's van Gisbergen, sneaks up the inside of Reynolds. He may get the jump ahead of him onto that back straight. He hasn't. Reynolds has been able to keep him at bay. Good job as they work down toward turn 5 for the first time. Van Gisbergen was looking to try and make an opportunity while he could. A cheeky move between turns 3 and 4. Lots of people driving down the right-hand side in the run down to this hard right-hander at turn 5 to cover. Trouble in the mid-pack. Will Davison's been turned. Tim Slade's involved, as is Fabian Coulthard, who's now at the back of the pack.
I got turned. Big damage. Massive damage. Slade just turned me. Turn 6.
Voice of Will Davison, and this is on board here with Fabian. Good start, Van Gisbergen. Scott Pye lost a little bit of ground at the very start. Whincup's got a margin of half a second. Whincup, Reynolds, Van Gisbergen, Pye drops a spot. Then Lowndes, Caruso, Winterbottom, Courtney, McLaughlin and Tander. That's your 10. There's Garth. Coulthard has dropped to 24th place. Look at the damage to the Penrite Mercedes of Will Davison as he limps back to the lane. Looks like Coulthard has kept circulating despite that damage to the front of the Freightliner Commodore. Settling in, Scott Pye. He's lost some car lengths, as Neil detailed there a moment ago. And it's Lowndes back to Michael Caruso. Caruso is ahead of Mark Winterbottom. Good job, Michael Caruso in the Nissan. See just how congested and difficult it is to race in the back of that pack. Cars all around you. Very easy to make a mistake. Heimgartner here trying to go round the outside of Walsh, and that ends up with Andre out on the grass. And you can see there's a lot of oil that's been left behind Will's car here as well. So there's oil cooler damage on the Erebus entry there. So there was a flag showing coming out of the hairpin. Garth Tander, remember, started out at position 17. Right now he's 10th. Here's the start. Great job, Shane van Gisbergen. He had a pile of pace, didn't he? He ended up on the wrong side of the road down there through turn 1. So it was difficult to try and do anything about David Reynolds. Here we are on board with Fabian. A lot of wheel spin initially. That allowed Jason Bright to go. Garth Tander split them. And Fabian's out there where you can see there's just no grip. He's having to mess around with the throttle, and then he gets a little hip and shoulder. It may have even been a light bump with Jason Bright. And then Moffat, Slade and Davison here all tangling with Fabian Coulthard. Nowhere to go. Innocent victim. And this is where you can see it's all going crazy. Oh, that's a pretty significant bump, isn't it? So that's going to affect the front of the Freightliner car as well, and it's put Will Davison back into the garage. To be fair to Moff as well, I reckon he took evasive action in the 99 as that was all unfolding. He's in position 11. What a job by Tander from P17. He is inside or in the top 10. 10th spot for now. His stablemate Lee Holdsworth has picked up 3 spots as well. And that Walkinshaw performance number 18, he's up there. You can see him in the background there. He's up to 13th spot. Mechanical black flag for Dale Wood in car number 21. Bodywork is flapping on that car, so they'll have to bring it in and resolve that. It's very difficult sometimes, particularly in the middle of a live motor race, to unravel all that's gone on there in that bump and grind between turns 5 and 6. And that's why they've got the onboard cameras, so that they can look at the data and the vision later on to just figure out who was doing what. Sometimes it's just simple, straightforward, pure congestion. Now that margin, first to second, got out as far as 1 second. It's now back down to 0.29.
Will Davison, I can see disappointment on your face to be in the garage so early in this race. It's a shame. Good start, 2 spots, which was awesome. Playing it pretty conservative. Courtney and McLaughlin were going pretty nuts, so it's always annoying when you get turfed out from behind when you actually just try not to do anything silly. I was pretty happy with 2 spots in lap 1, and I think it was Slade. I'm not sure what happened, but I was just looking at the cars in front. Next thing I was going backwards. Unfortunately, spun into Coulthard's path, but anyway, I suppose I got into him at the last race, got a penalty for it, so I'm sure the same will happen, but I doubt that was on purpose.
Thanks, Will.
Cheers.
And while that conversation was going on between Rihanna and Will, we've now gone to a full course yellow safety car. Will be deployed. There's quite a little bit of rubbish on the road down there. So the Lexus RCF safety car will take control of the field and tighten things up, and it had already got very tight at the top between Whincup and Reynolds. So that's just in the area between turns 1 and 2. And here is the stricken Fabian Coulthard. He's got a lot of damage on the front of that car. He's been on the radio just in conversation as well. So looking well worse for wear. So the bottom of the under tray's also been ripped out of that car. That's twice in 2 days at Brad Jones Motorsport that they've had pretty significant front end damage. And the best of their runners.
Into the pit lane, so it was a little bit sketchy, locked the brake.
So front bumper, right-hand headlight assembly. A lot of bonnet damage there as well. And you can see quite a portion of the under tray is just dangling on that car, so the handling will be pretty evil. And it's actually quite a good call, given the high-speed nature of the track. If too much of that ends up under the front wheels, the car will just literally fly straight ahead, and big chance to meet a concrete wall around here. So they don't want to take that risk, particularly when he's at the back of the field.
Brad Jones Racing's best player now in this race, Jason Bright, position 12 in car 8. Dale Wood's back in 24th. He's been through the lane.
And that's going to take a little while to resolve.
So behind the Lexus RCF safety car here, Jamie Whincup, if you've just joined us, is the race leader from David Reynolds. Fastest lap of the race until that safety car came out belonged to Whincup with a 1:04.35, and Reynolds was just slowly closing that gap down. But now we're all bunched back up once again. This will be good for Scott Pye. Lost a bit of ground at the start as well in the 17. Closer again to the 97.
Pretty disappointed, Brad Jones. He made substantial damage there, Fabian. That was a pretty messy sort of start, and then he was got caught up in that mess down at turn 6.
Yeah, well, look, it was a scrappy start, and then you know, when you're mid-pack, there's always a risk with the contact we have in this game that you're going to get caught up in something. So it's really unfortunate. It's not good for the championship. Hopefully, we've got him out before he'll go a lap down, and he can run around, gather up some points, and we'll be a bit more competitive in the soft tyre race.
I think him and Bridie actually had a bit of a moment down there at 1 at the start. I mean, Tander got a great start, came between them, and then Fabs started the lap badly by being on the grass.
Yeah, it's not that much grip out there on that stuff. So, you know, the boys just really need to... Right now, Bridie's probably not too bad. He's in 12th. And Fabian, as I said, we just need him to go round and round, gather up some points so we can fix the car and attack in the next one.
And what about Dale Wood as well? He has been in the wars coming for getting that rear bumper removed.
Yeah, it's not a great day for us, but fortunately there's a safety car, so he's still in the race. So they got the rear bumper off. He's back out there and dropped a couple of positions, but hopefully he's in a spot where he can fight forward.
Carry on.
Thank you.
Remember what Brad's talking about there. Same thing Neil covered off on the grid. It's really close between Reynolds, Garth Tander, Fabian Coulthard, who you watch here, and Shane Van Gisbergen in that race for 3rd in the championship.
Fabian actually took the opportunity to also do a practice start rehearsal as he departed the pit lane there, and lights are off on the Lexus RCF safety car. They're all nose to tail. Jamie's got control of the field. I'll be listening carefully for the word from race control on the race management channel.
Cup controls the field. Just about ready to go again in front of a packed crowd, a big crowd here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. Lowndes ahead of his championship rival by a couple of spots. Winterbottom, our series leader, is 7th.
unleashes the horsepower. Whincup's away. Reynolds trying to stay with him, stays close. So does Shane Van Gisbergen, about a car length back to Pye. Maybe more, couple.
David did a very good job of shadowing Jamie away from the start there, and Van Gisbergen did exactly the same. There was a little gap opened up to Scott Pye in fourth. And you can guarantee that down the order, there's plenty of elbows and hip and shoulder there as well.
That incident, as you can see, under investigation. 47 and 9. Slade and Davison. Look at David Reynolds, tries to sneak down the inside, snatches that left front, and that has allowed Shane Van Gisbergen through. That's all it took.
It's really strange. I don't know that David was actually looking at making a passing manoeuvre there, or whether that was just simply a mistake and ended up in the lockup. That was really odd, just where the car was positioned, and it was a complete gift for Shane Van Gisbergen. Very odd, and it just took a little bit of momentary pressure away from Whincup as well. Lowndes is lurking here. In championship terms, you've got Lowndes in 5th at the moment, Winterbottom in 7th. Looking rearward from Shane Van Gisbergen's car at David Reynolds. That's the gap. And it's 0.7 of a second, first to second at the moment. And I guess he was having a bit of a think down the inside. There's some oil down there as well, which might have complicated matters. All of the angles look odd on that. Anyway, a little momentary lock-up. Here we are. Let's listen here. Oh, I know what it was. It's because Jamie was so high and then tucked back down. It kind of looked like there was a little bit of a gap there, and then he's just locked a brake momentarily in the middle. That's his engineer, Brad Bushison. Dylan Talabani was off to the right there. He's the engineer for Andre Heimgartner, who's down in 22nd in the Super Black entry at the moment. So 0.8 of a second is the gap between Whincup and Van Gisbergen. So Shane's flying the Kiwi flag well here at the moment.
Sorry, Neil Blanchard was. He caught that. That looked a little wild through there, and it won't be the first time in this race we probably see things like that.
Well, there's a couple of very awkward bumps in turn 1, and it's extremely line specific to make sure that you can be under control there. He's got a lot of pressure on him at the moment. Tim Blanchard from Andre Heimgartner, the driver that I just spoke about a moment ago, who's looking down the inside at 5. We've seen cars run successfully 2x2 through there. It does require a little bit of cooperation. He's jammed under the rear wing of that Holden Commodore at the moment, Heimgartner. Now he's through at the hairpin.
And that's for 21st position, and Blanchard tags him on the way through, so serve and return serve. But the Super Black racer is away. Meantime, a 1.2 second lead up in front. Whincup ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen. Then David Reynolds, Scott Pye and Craig Lowndes. And you can see that Reynolds has, at that moment, fallen back here. Craig Lowndes 5th. Fastest lap of the race still belongs to Whincup so far. 1.5 seconds the margin he enjoys now.
Last win for Jamie with Sydney Motorsport Park. So he's opened up the gap now, 1.5 seconds over Shane Van Gisbergen. So he's got good stride at the moment. That car looks very good. All of this stuff's well and truly unresolved though, isn't it? Reynolds, Pye, Lowndes. These guys are very close. Roger Penske on the right, Dick Johnson on the left, watching at Dick Johnson Racing Team Penske. I think Brad Keselowski got a pole in Texas overnight as well as NASCAR continues. They've wrapped up IndyCar, where Roger's team picked up another Indy 500 victory with Juan Pablo Montoya, and second in the championship in somewhat controversial circumstances with the double points in the final round. So it's been a big year for Roger Penske, who's expanded his business operations here in New Zealand as well, with an official opening of a new facility yesterday.
On board with David Reynolds here for a full lap of Pukekohe Park.
Catch up the gears here. 10 to go when you cross the line.
Something really interesting there, and we'll focus on it when they get to the end of the back straight here. We're on board with David Reynolds. This is Shane Van Gisbergen, the driver is chasing. It's exactly 1 second, but my eyebrows went up when they got to the hairpin at turn 8. As the onboard with David showed Shane running a very high line through the hairpin, just in search of a different line, a little more grip, or maybe he just got in there a little bit hot. We'll see what he does this time. They're coming up now to 8. Turns it in from the traditional high line. Yeah, and he runs a little bit higher than most drivers there, so there's some positive camber on the banking there, and he's just searching for more grip, trying to keep the rolling speed of the car up.
The other thing that was noticeable for Reynolds as he came through into turn 1 last time by, just the finesse in the steering wheel. It looked really smooth through that trademark bump at turn 1. The gap is now 0.7 between Reynolds and Van Gisbergen. Up in front though, Jamie Whincup's opened a 3.1 second lead.
ATB, Garth Tander, I'll tell you what, boy can start, can't he?
He can. He certainly can, yeah. He does it day in, day out. He starts in his first laps, fantastic, but the problem is we're relying on that a bit too much at the moment.
If he was on grid 6, he'd be leading this race.
Yeah, that's our job at the moment. We've got to get him starting close to the front, and then we'll be having a proper crack at it instead of now wobbling around at the back of the tent. But, yeah.
A little bit of drama for Slady there, 47. They're going to look at that after the race.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, we've got limited vision here. I'm not sure whether, I think it might have been Moth, might have been into the back of Slady, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on it, really. Good luck. Cheers, mate.
Garth started out at position number 17. He's already up into 10th on screen at the moment, and just in front is Scott McLaughlin, that's the Volvo, and just behind is James Moffat in the Nissan. His consistency's been very impressive this year, Garth Tander. And after that ropey Saturday, where there was all that tension between the teammates on the Gold Coast, they responded at the Holden Racing Team with 2 podiums on the Sunday, a first and a third. Very impressive. Here we are with Lowndes. This is 5th.
Couple of spots ahead of Winterbottom in 7th position. We've detailed the fact that he has not had a race win at this venue, and 888 Race Engineering, just the 1 in 23 starts at this venue. It's amazing to think that a guy of his calibre, his stature in the sport, and this team have only had those kind of results here.
Jamie's on target to correct that from a team standpoint at the moment. 3.5 seconds over Van Gisbergen, but Craig's got his hands full at the moment. He was gnawing on the rear bumper of Scott Pye's car at the hairpin, but he's lost a little bit of ground here through those final 2 corners. That's the sort of stuff that he and this man on screen, Grant McPherson, will study in detail between the races and try and find a way to see whether they can either improve the balance or the ride control of the car. That's outside turn 1, James Courtney, and he's in 8th at the moment. And either side of him, you've got Mark Winterbottom and Scott McLaughlin. This is where the intensity of real pressure is at the moment between Pye and Lowndes. That gap's just opened slightly on this lap. Lowndes able to get to Pye in the slow speed hairpin, but he just can't quite match him in a couple of other key spots around here at the moment.
Tim Slade battling away with Rick Kelly there. Kelly is in 15th spot. Super Cheap Auto Racer, 1 place behind him. Then it's Cameron Waters, who's subbing for Chaz Moffat, who we know is watching the coverage back home in Australia. And look at Nick Percat in the background, hustling on Waters here. Remember, Percat started dead last in this race, and he gets the elbows out.
Now, you want to be careful there, because that was raised in the driver's briefing yesterday. Drivers running side by side through that hairpin. They were instructed in writing and verbally yesterday to make sure that you leave enough room for a driver on the outside and give them racing room. That one was line ball. Percat has made the move. He's gone up 1 spot comfortably there over Cam, but that was pretty close. much in it between Reynolds and Van Gisbergen. The marker, the gap between them is down to 0.4. So car 55, that Bottle racer, here it is. He's closing in on Van Gisbergen, just gradually. Meantime, Jamie Whincup has nearly 4 seconds in his pocket up in front. That's the advantage. He's already through turn 8. There he is.
Look at that line. Totally different to David's. So that really graphically illustrated. Couldn't see it quite as well from that external shot that we showed you a couple of laps ago, but you see it very clearly from onboard Davies' car. It's cool to see just Shane positioning the car in a different way. Very similar to what you see some of the drivers do at the hairpin at Symmons Plains. Here's this little move of Percat down the inside on Cam, and it's the exit where there's a bit of focus. And that's not really a car width. The only reason that there was ending, that there didn't end up being some space on the outside there was because there'd been little contact. Perhaps the bump just made it look worse.
Scott Sinclair, your two guys, Michael Caruso, James Moffat, sitting quite nicely in this race, and you guys have shown good pace throughout the weekend so far.
Yeah, we didn't quite get it together in qualifying, but they've raced well now, and Rick and Todd made it through that incident at the start. So all 4 in the top 15 is good, and Michael's holding his own there with the other guys in the top 6, so that's good, but we needed to do a bit better job in qualifying, unfortunately.
Thanks, Scott.
So, Scotty Sinclair's clamping force on his headset's a bit tight there. You can see he's branded himself. So,
listening intently.
Yeah, he's needs to give them, just stretch them apart a little bit. Kind of impressed, very impressed with the way in which those guys have generally performed so far this weekend. Tried to make that point about the changes to the car and their ongoing development when I was down on the grid a little bit earlier. So Michael Caruso in 6th place at the moment. He's got Craig Lowndes, Mark Winterbottom either side. They're battling for a championship at the moment. And this really just underscores what we saw in those first couple of practice sessions yesterday.
And often at Pukekohe, it's about how they arrive in the freight ready to go. And the Nissans were 1 and 2 in session 1 yesterday. Michael Caruso from James Moffat. It was a great start. This guy, brilliant pole position for the team. 3.6 seconds up the road ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen. Time running out in this race. Look at this here, Lowndes. He's been gnawing away, as you said, at Scott Pye. Changes direction here. Can he get the drive out of turn 8?
And he's just on the radio there as we were watching him, and Craig saying he's blocking me. So Craig had to have another stab at the brake pedal and pick up the pedal pressure as they were heading into the hairpin there, and you could see the car wriggle in protest. And that drew a short, sharp response on the radio from Craig. But these fellas in a battle for 4th and 5th at the moment. 3.5 seconds, comfortable cushion for Jamie Whincup over Shane Van Gisbergen, who was effectively gifted 2nd place by David Reynolds. So that little mistake up at the hairpin, David still sitting in 3rd, and then this battle we're focused on here.
And Scott Pye, of course, coming in with that rib injury still from Bathurst. He's still recovering from that cut.
He's not going to stop it, no. So that's very costly. He skated in there on the rear brake. And it's gone back in front of Craig Lowndes there, and don't know whether or not they'll ask him to redress that or whether they'll be satisfied to leave it there. And that was Craig Lowndes on the radio asking the very same question.
5 needs to go behind car 888.
There we go. So that's consistent with the discussion in the driver's briefing. So there's going to be a bit of reshuffling there. That was the voice of race director Tim Schenken.
And that's important for championship points. It's another place for Craig Lowndes, another spot ahead of Mark Winterbottom. So Winterbottom is 7th. That will move Lowndes into 4th in this race. Dramas for Jason Bright here. That's off the exit of turn 8.
I won't restart.
Can't restart.
So Pye had the rear brakes locked going into turn 5. And he's been instructed by race control to redress that. That hasn't happened at this point.
Lowndes is eager to get on with it. Can't do it there. Yellow flag, yeah.
Not sure what they'll do about this.
Oh, yeah. Great work, crew.
Well done, Jamie
Great work.
Wincup. Fantastic performance. He's got the job done. He's back in the winner's circle. It's been a little while. Sydney Motorsport Park for him. Van Gisbergen, Reynolds, Pye stay in front of Lowndes. That will be debated.
Awesome job. Thank you.
So it is race win number 93 for Wincup. And that was a very nice victory. 4.3 seconds and never in doubt.
From go to woe, great work by Jamie Wincup. And that's brilliant for the 888 race organisation. Their second victory at this venue, and it means a lot to Roland Dane. Look at that, and that's because we've had a little shift back the way that it was in terms of engineering personnel. David Couchy back and working very closely once again with Jamie Wincup. He was always a part of that, but of course, now we see Mark Dutton back as the team manager, and that one means a bit.
Yeah, that was not only a congratulations, but a reinforcement. There you go. I knew you could do it, from Roland Dane to Dave Couchy. Impressive performance, and they've got to make sure that they've got their structure right for next year when they expand to 3 cars. 4.3 second victory after there'd been a Lexus RCF safety car intervention. That's an emphatic victory here for Jamie Wincup. He's marched away.
And it's important in the title race as well for Craig Lowndes. We'll take a look at those points. At the moment, though, the way they may roll out, Scott Pye did not redress as he was asked. He crossed the line in 4th place. Craig Lowndes home in 5th. But effectively, Lowndes, the way they were talking there at race control, should have finished P4 in that race. Here's your winner. Spot number 1 there in victory lane.
Craig will have gained a few valuable little points over Mark Winterbottom in that race. Only a handful, but every point counts in this caper, and that is victory number 4 of the season now for Jamie Wincup, and that lifts him up to the same number as Craig Lowndes. And there's his engineer. Smiles all round. Well done, boys.
It just looked good, didn't it? Even right from the get-go through this very tricky first corner on the track. 4.3 seconds in the end over the Kiwi Shane Van Gisbergen, and David Reynolds home 3rd.
Jamie Wincup, I know that victory meant a lot to you. They've been a little bit lean this year in 2015, but that meant a lot to Red Bull Racing Australia.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. It's best day I've had here in Auckland. It's sun's out. It's a nice day, and yeah, to get a pole and a win. Yeah, great result. Got Couchy back on the radio again. Thanks, Davey. But yeah, hey, you know, Dutto's done some awesome work in the last 3 or 4 months to get us in a spot to be able to win races, so it's very nice.
Congratulations, a trophy from the ladies at Lexus, and we've got another race coming up this afternoon. Shane Van Gisbergen, when you got past David Reynolds, that crowd over there on the hill, they went mental. Well done.
Oh, I did everything I could, but Jamie was just too fast, but awesome to get a podium at home, really cool, and hopefully we can push forward in the race this afternoon and then be ready for tomorrow, but awesome, thanks to my team, great to be here, thank you.
Popular man here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, a trophy from the girls here at Lexus. David Reynolds on the podium here at the ITM 500 Auckland. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I got a bad start and Wincup beat me off the start, but that's all right. And then I was going good, and then the safety car came out, and then I had a bit of a stuff up at the hairpin and nearly turned around Wincup and made a big mistake, and then Shane got past me, but that's all right. It was only a short race.
That's okay. You're starting from pole position this afternoon. One more to come. A trophy from the girls at Lexus. Well done.
CL, a good drive, mate. Put that pressure on Scotty Pye there, and you obviously he was being fairly defensive on you as well, and finally he made that little mistake down at 5. Didn't readdress though.
Well, look, I'm not sure about the second half of it, but the first half of it, he was starting to lose rear, and you could see him sort of wiggle under brakes and have that little cha-cha going on. So I just had to keep putting pressure on. We were quick through the first sector. They were quite strong coming out of 8, 9, 10, 11. So we had our strengths and weaknesses, but all in all, we just, we had a good battle. I think it was great fun.
You are doing pretty much everything required in this championship, bringing it up again. Finished a few spots ahead of the guy that you're racing there, Mark Winterbottom, and then for race 29, you're on 2, and I think he's back in 7 or 6.
Yeah, look, I think that for us, it's it's the only way we can obviously try and combat everything is just to keep taking points away from him as many as we can each time. And whether he's right behind us or a couple behind us, it's a good thing for us.
Good on you, buddy.
Cheers.
So in terms of the results, Jamie Whincup claims his 93rd championship race win, now just 8 behind Craig Lowndes' record of 101 in this sport. It's his 2nd race win at Pukekohe. Jamie Whincup, his 4th of the season. Shane van Gisbergen, home 2nd, his 4th Pookie podium, and the first podium at this venue for David Reynolds in 3rd place. Scott Pye, what a job. It equals his best career result in this sport, despite being told to redress that position on the last lap there, so with Craig Lowndes. James Moffat outside the top 10 in the end. Garth Tander did a brilliant job after starting all the way down in 17th position, and Nick Percat recovered from last to be 16th. And dramas, of course, for Fabian Coulthard with that damage to the 49 Freightliner entry, I should say. Highlights of race 28 of the championship, which started under beautiful skies at Pukekohe. Demon start by Jamie Whincup, and in the final results, he would never be headed. David Reynolds, an opportunity early for Shane van Gisbergen, tried to sneak up the inside as they went onto the back straight for the first lap, but that did not eventuate. This contact here left a few people frustrated. Slade making contact with car 9, the Penrite entry of Will Davison. Betty Clemenco looks frustrated watching on from the hill. That was the damage to Coulthard's Commodore. Different lines being tried. That one there looked like an attempt to dive down the inside by Reynolds. It didn't come off, and that did allow Van Gisbergen to move through. Heimgartner and Blanchard had some contact. The elbows were out in this race a little further down the field. It wouldn't be the first time we'd see that kind of contact. Here's Percat, who started last, sneaking down the inside of Cameron Waters. Back up in front, Jamie Whincup leading the way. There was some debris on track, of course, and that brought out the Lexus RCF safety car. David Couchy, great job. Back as the number 1 on car 1. Long break, couldn't pull it up, couldn't arrest the speed. Scott Pye down at turn 5, so he made his way through that runoff area, but he rejoined still in front of Craig Lowndes, even though he was told to redress. No dramas out in front for Whincup, untouched to go on and take a 4.3 second victory. Brilliant performance, and it's his 4th victory of the season, one that meant a lot to Roland Dane and the team at Red Bull Racing Australia. So here are the championship standings. Now I need to reinforce to you, because they have crossed the line with Craig Lowndes not ahead of Scott Pye, there may be some more points to come in the kitty here for Lowndes, we believe. So Winterbottom ahead by 2:46, but that margin may come down a little more. Great result. Garth Tander still in 4th there, but it's a bit of a margin between he and Reynolds now, and we are gearing up, of course, for the 2nd sprint to come this afternoon in front of a big crowded Pookie, and that'll be on soft tyres.